Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Masks Monday. And we are up to session 43 today of Masks of Nyarlathotep. And apologies, by the way, if I seem a bit doolally, my brain's a bit mushy from work. But apart from that, we're all good to go. So let's go around the virtual table. And let us start off with introducing Mr. Perry Astor.
Perry Astor, explorer, Canadian, and member of Team B, who was reasonably successful last week. We didn't get any credit for it. Team B did some solid work, got us a good in with the Japanese Navy, which I'm afraid the Team A are currently throwing away in the tea shop.
That seems smart to you, my friend.
Then it is Pranit Singh Dhillon.
Yes, indeed. My name is Pranit, former soldier, now swordless. Apparently, it was part of the smart team when events took a turn he didn't want to take. So we'll see if he manages to create a new team, because now he's not teaming up with Annie anymore, because we went two separate ways. And she took the smart of the team with her. So.
And then we have Annie Jones.
Hi, I'm Annie Jones, occultist researcher. I was in the A team, but now I'm with Ronnie. I mean, Charles. So, yeah, it's going okay. The other team found the guy we're really looking for, though. So we're definitely B team now.
And then finally we have Charles Barrington-Smythe.
Yes. I think Annie needs to remember that there's something more horrifying than the fact that she's lumbered with me, and it's the fact that I'm lumbered with her. But we have been moving the teams around a bit like the Chuckle Brothers. To me, to you, to me, to you. Here you have the A team. No, we'll be A team. You have the A team. Back and forth and back and forth. It's been quite fun.
What else happened last session?
Right, this is where I use my normal voice for this, and the fact that I watched the session this afternoon to make my notes. Okay, so we kicked off in the morning. We received 2 letters with a swallow in flight on them. Nothing written on the envelopes, but opening them revealed invitations for the voluptuous brown-eyed beauty, and the other to the bronze Atlas with a sapphire turban. After an intense argument, we all reluctantly agreed that the voluptuous brown-eyed beauty was Annie. The letters were both invitations to dine with a Madame Swallow at the Oriental Pearl in the Old City. Also contained a note which read, "In the hunt, the wise king uses beaters on 3 sides only. For going game that runs ahead, the quarry chooses its own fate." Some of those letters in red, we all debated the possible meaning, whether there was some kind of code in it or a threat or some kind of warning. And then we sort of decided who was going where. Annie and Pranit ended up going to the tea house. They spoke to Chu Min of the New China Army. Annie was trying to work out whether this New China Army was part of the cultists or not. So she talked about Gavagan, and then it kind of transpired that he probably wasn't allied with the cultists, and they arranged a meeting at a warehouse later in the afternoon. Myself and Perry, we went to the Shanghai Courier to check the background of the disappearances of the Flower Girls. We spoke to Anthony Chang at the Courier, and he assisted us with information. Girls disappearing from Lantern Street. There was an incident involving what's been reported as a giant bat, but we assume that it was possibly either Shantak or hunting horror. The victim's name was Reparita Wong, and another victim, possibly her client, a Mr. Chin Shi Chow. It seems this giant bat is a rumor that's been going around, doing the rounds for a while. Also, we got a report about damage to a Seamen's Club a week ago. Damage in excess of £8,000 sterling, which I still think is an insane amount. The speculation, or the reported speculation, was that the damage was due to seepage undermining the embankment area where the club is. However, nearby revelers claim to have seen strange creatures emerging from the water, although Chang dismissed it for lack of any sort of evidence to back it up. He does, however, know our old friend Nigel Wasif from Cairo, and passed on a message of thank you to Pranit. And we sort of told him he should stick to those stories and get more information and give it to us. We all met back up again. We decided to switch teams because clearly someone had to get lumbered with me, and as I can't really fight very well, they decided to not send me to the warehouse. Myself and Annie went to the brothel. At the brothel at 88 Lantern Street, we talked to the madame, we confirmed the backstory, and we hear about a possible witness by the name of Magenta Joy, who's currently at Shanghai General Hospital. We get confirmation that Choi Mei Ling was sold to Jack Brady. We looked at the room where the attack happened, and we discovered large claw marks. Annie discovered large claw marks, further indicating the possibility of either a hunting horror or a Shantak. We also went further up the street to 140. Man wearing a robe with terrorist symbols that meant nothing. We were speculating the idea that Jack Brady may have either abducted Choi to prepare her for a sacrifice or to save her from being sacrificed. The other thing is that everyone and her mother seems to have heard of this whole Fong character, but no one seems to have much information about him, other than he's a prominent businessman. Pranit and Perry, meanwhile, arrived at the warehouse for the meeting. The warehouse had lots of people training in martial arts and seems to have a nice stockade in arms and armaments and possibly munitions as well. They were escorted to a map room to meet Chu Min, and there they met Jack Brady. Dun, dun, dun. And that's where the session ended.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Obtain a D10 worth of luck, although I could see you're already on board. Everybody else everyone gets an improvement roll as well.
Mm-hmm.
With your luck.
I'm a very happy man today.
Just to remind you, I believe you all have bonus dice left still.
Let me quickly check, but I do believe I still have mine.
I think so.
No, I've used mine.
You've used yours. Okay. Sanity has not changed, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Annie, what is your luck score now?
My luck score is 60.
Still 60. Perry.
Luck is 39.
Ooh, group luck roll change for tonight, can it?
Sorry?
What's your luck?
Oh, okay. I didn't catch you. Mine now is 43.
Okay. It's still in the hands of Perry to make group luck rolls. Charles?
65.
Wow.
I did well on. I managed to get an improvement roll, and I did okay with my extra
Yes.
little luck roll there. So I'm quite happy.
Indeed. Indeed, you did. Right. Well, I suppose I better put you out of your misery and go back to the team who have basically just seen Brady.
Can we just for the sake of the audience and just for clarification of ourselves, is the team that are at the warehouse Team A or Team B? I think we need to clarify
I
this.
think the baton may have been passed back.
Yeah, they're definitely Team A.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
No, I do believe we function as Team Pissed. Because I'm pissed and he pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm almost constantly pissed.
I'm not used to working in Team
I'm
A
functioning
either.
pissed.
Because Team B never had a leader. We're more of a democracy, but obviously Team A had a clear leader.
I mean, you're in China, so probably best not to talk about democracy at the moment. Buonasera, Matteo.
Ciao,
Yeah,
Matteo.
we're all committees now.
Yes.
We're all
Yes,
getting
one
committed.
detail I forgot to mention at the end of last week, again, because of the heat. When you came into the warehouse and you were going to be escorted, you were patted down and weapons confiscated from you. They wouldn't just let you waltz in with a gun.
Because why the fuck not? Yes.
Yes.
And my knife, I take it as well. Then, in that case.
Yes. Yeah. I'm afraid so. Okay, so yes, you like I said before, so you go past a few large rooms where people have been training martial arts, things like that. You've seen a few possible store cupboards and storerooms filled with heavier weaponry, you think. But yes, in this room near the back, where Chu Min sees you, Brady, who is poring over a map, also sees you. He immediately comes round the table, and what I'll do is I will put both of them on together for you. Brady looks a little bit grayer along the hairs of his temples than in his pictures. More of a haunted look in his eyes, and definitely a sign of a slightly more wrinkled face from stress again than his pictures. So let me just do this for you. Okay. And as he comes around, he keeps his eyes fixed on Pranit in particular. And Perry, you see Chu nod to a few others who are in the room, and they immediately come for you, Pranit, and escort you, grab a chair, and Jack just says, "Sit."
I'm not opposing resistance, so I just sit.
The hell are you doing here?
Well, I was expecting to have some sort of oh fuck, how do you say that? Vis-a-vis with Mr. Chu Min. Wasn't expecting to see you here, Jack.
Neither were we. Where's Gavagan?
Well, it's hard to say. It's not here.
No, the last we heard of him, he was locked in a cell in London.
He retrieves his gun, his pistol Thompson, from his holster and just points it straight at you, Pranit, and says, "Don't fuck around with me. Where the fuck is he?"
As far as we're
You're
concerned,
a stooge, aren't you?
I beg your pardon?
You're a stooge, aren't you? So he must be nearby somehow.
We have nothing to do with Gavigan.
Not at all. Oh, quite the contrary, Mr. Brady. See, we are the one who killed Shafiq, for example. You should know.
He looks back at Chu. Min. He said that he was working for Gavagan, right? And Chu just kind of shrugs his shoulders. That is what he said. Or that is what his friend said.
Yeah, actually, we were just trying to retrieve some sort of general information or intel, and we decided to go down that road, that route,
That was
which
just
apparently
deployed.
worked because we're talking now. But that's the farthest thing from the truth I could think of.
Yeah,
If
it's just
you-
deployed. Sorry.
No, sorry. Please go.
It's just deployed to draw you out because we're against the clock and we haven't got much time. But we are
Neither do you. Neither do you.
How are your fast talks?
non-existent.
Yeah, same.
5.
Okay. He's looking at the two of you, and he's obviously dubious. He's possibly wondering, how you know Shafiq and things like that. But you don't think he, wholeheartedly believes you either. We're all running out of time. Even
we've
your
done-
lot. You're going to die anyway. Gavigan knows it.
We've done what we can to delay Gavigan, actually. Probably
Do you
more
wish
than
to
you have.
elaborate?
We spoke a few plans in Egypt and Africa of theirs, and London. I say we got Gavigan arrested.
Arrested? Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
why am I
that's
hearing
what we
rumors
did.
that he's in Shanghai right now?
Gavigan's in Shanghai. They did not know that.
I'd like to
didn't
go
think so.
home now.
No, we did not have a single clue about that. Well, we read on a newspaper, was it, that Gavigan and Shafiq were apprehended by the police and were incarcerated, but a couple of days later, if I'm not mistaken, they managed to break free. And we saw, as I told you, Shafiq in Egypt, and we dealt with them. But we didn't have any information about Gavigan until now. You are the one that gave those to us.
Well, I certainly heard that Egypt, the code over there, did suffer quite tremendously. If that was you, I'm impressed.
You're welcome.
Wait to hear about Kenya then.
What happened?
Does
in
he
Kenya?
still have his guns out?
Yeah, although he's lowered it. He's not blatantly pointing it straight at you anymore.
Okay.
Well, we destroyed the cult on the mountain.
I can see that you have obviously been pinpointing different cults around the world, but is that all because you were looking for me?
No,
Who are
not
you?
initially. Well, we're part of a team that have been tracking the cult for originally for author friend of the group's that was killed in New York, but the mantle's passed a couple of times, and we are still chasing the cult now, trying to stop them. And by the way, we'd like to pass on good wishes and a hello from a friend of yours in Hong Kong, Mr. Carlyle.
What? You found? How the hell did you find him?
Wasn't that hard?
Wasn't
Oh, shut up! Of course it was hard. I put him in one of the most secluded places in the city.
And yet we managed.
Who was this author? You mentioned you were doing it for him.
Jackson Elias.
Yes, indeed.
Ah. Well, that does explain a lot. There's no way you could have found him without Elias's research, as far as I was aware. He was quite a thorough man. My condolences, though. He seemed like a good guy.
As I said,
how
the
is
mantle. Sorry,
Roger? How is he?
A bit confused, but
Yeah.
well.
Still far, I do believe, from total remission of his diseases.
Ask for me? Does he ask about me?
I can't remember who.
I don't recall, to be fair, but I wasn't there. So, yes, he did. Of course, among other rumblings about his loved one, his sister, he mentioned you as well.
I think he was hoping to see you again at some point.
It's too dangerous at the moment. Too many people wanting me dead.
Totally.
Yeah.
We nearly moved him, but we decided to leave him where he was in the end.
We can think
did
of,
right thing.
at very least, a couple of factions who are not so fond of you, Mr. Brady.
Huh. A couple.
Yes. If Gavagan's in Shanghai, you need to be careful because he is definitely gunning for you.
Yeah. On the other hand, apparently someone got a little bit of mixed information about some sort of machine the new China army is assembling, something like that.
Perry, since you're still standing, there are people near you, but they're not like manhandling you.
Mhm.
Again, you've been kind of looking around a little bit as you like to do, and you got a tick on your spot hidden. You notice the map that Brady has been poring over. It really catches your eye because it's more like a load of blueprints. Still a map, but you know the blue color really catches your eye.
Mhm.
And you just managed to see the letters Grey Dragon Island, or the words Grey Dragon Island.
Okay, great.
Whenever
Dragon
it's
Island.
ready. There we go. And I'm going to put that in the chat for you, a much bigger one to peruse over. There we go. Streaming has just been making everything slow tonight. There we go. Okay. So Brady laughs at the remark a little bit about, being careful with Gavagan. But then when you mention the machine, he says, Gavagan is dangerous, but what we're doing is because of something more dangerous. We, or certainly I, discovered a couple of years ago that it wasn't just us, me and Roger, who left Kenya eventually. Sir Aubrey has followed me to China. Or whether it's following or not, actually, I don't know. The point is, there are rumors that he is creating some sort of machine or weapon. We are trying to work out what it is and attempt to destroy it.
He will run into a few issues with that. We have diverted a number of parts in the last shipment and spread them around the world a little bit.
I can't believe what I'm hearing here. You're like super globe trotters or something. Still, it might not be enough. And how did you know that those were the parts anyway? It could have been anything.
We broke into Gavagan's mansion and had some shipping manifests.
Yeah. We also went to the plant where these parts were allegedly created, but we were a tad too late.
So they've stopped manufacturing now. So if they do need new parts, it will take a while for them to get back into production.
You notice every so often Brady is looking back towards the door, out, kind of glancing out of windows and so on in slight paranoid fashion. But he goes back to the map on the table and says, "That might explain why Gavagan has come here then. perhaps just assist Sir Aubrey in retrieving these parts. Maybe he has a plan to help finish it off.
He might do. He might
I
do.
assume you don't know anything about this weapon, though, do you? What it does? What
No.
it looks like?
No information.
No.
Like I say, the warehouse was cleared before we
Yeah.
got there. The pieces we've seen give no indication to actually what the machine will be eventually.
Yeah. Neither do the Japanese know.
Well, no, of course they're not going to know.
Yeah, but still they're thinking that you are building the machine, Mr. Brady.
They can think what they like. I don't really care. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. I know that this weapon that Sir Aubrey is doing, from what I've seen of him as a person and what he is capable of, what he did to Roger and how he manipulated him with that Mweru woman, he could do all sorts. This weapon, I am almost certain, is going to cause catastrophic damage to China, Japan, possibly the world.
And what kind of machine is this?
Like I said, I don't know. But what Sir Aubrey's already done, he has a god complex. Ever since he went into the Bent Pyramid with the others, when he came out again, it was as if he had been almost made a pharaoh or a king. He had this even more narcissistic personality to him that he said was given to him by this god. This god who haunts Roger's dreams.
There's a distinct possibility that Pen Yu went in, but something else came out.
Whatever happened, he is incredibly dangerous.
What do you know of the Pale Viper?
I haven't heard the name myself, but I sometimes wonder if it's a name that maybe Aubrey would give himself. He was the type to give himself titles and nicknames. That whole feeling of superiority about him, you know? He always considered himself to be the leader of the expedition, not Roger, because he was the expert in Egyptology. He was the one who guided us through the deserts to the Bent Pyramid, and then he was the one who took the others up the mountain and did those terrible deeds. Fortunately, by then, I'd managed to secure passage to take Roger away.
Yes, other members of your party weren't quite so lucky.
Are you saying that you've seen some of the others?
Yeah.
Hypatia.
Hypatia Masters.
She was still in Kenya when we were there.
She was not well when she came out of that pyramid, and I could tell that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Does her child live?
Well, we could say that the world is not a burden for them anymore.
For all of them.
Oh God. She was manipulated too. They all were. Even Sir Aubrey, even though he likes to think he wasn't, and it was all entirely what he thought at the time. This is the extent of this Nyarlathotep's influence on the world. He can get anybody at any time in whatever form he likes.
Yeah, well, this is maybe a discussion for another place. Still, I do believe that you need to be extra careful now with what you told us. Yeah, no shit, exactly. But since we like to state the obvious, given the fact that you told us Gavigan is here, the Japanese are after you, and the Pale Viper also. And I do really think it's the leader of the cult here in China.
What, the Order of the Bloated Woman?
Yeah, maybe. Or the Black Fan, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, they are the main cult here. I don't know of any others. Although I wouldn't be surprised if there were any, given this place.
Do you have any idea where this machine is being assembled?
Well, we think it's being done here.
In Shanghai?
No, he taps to the Grey Dragon Island map.
Oh, okay. And where is Great Dragon Island?
It's unmarked on any regular map. It's not
In-
quite south of to Taiwan, but it's way out at sea.
Is it close to Japan by any chance?
Equidistant. I'm trying to remember what the names of those islands are. Give me a second. I'll just find them on here. They probably won't be called that in 1925, come to think of it. But basically the closest they are to anywhere, or this island is closest to anywhere, is basically in the East China Sea. There are these tiny islands that do like a long strip between the island of Kumamoto in Japan and Taiwan. So Okinawa, basically, in that area.
All right.
We do have a rough idea of where it is. We have had small boats head out. However, nobody on those boats has ever returned.
That's obviously why Jackson had a picture of that of Ho Fong's motor yacht. What must be going on that?
Ho Fong's motor yacht. Oh, right. Well, I don't know about Ho Fong's yacht, but he may well have something to do with Sir Aubrey. But Sir Aubrey's boat's been heading out that way too. That's why we think that he could well be taking parts from the mainland to the island on his dark mistress.
Oh, sorry, that was Aubrey's, was it? Sorry.
Well, you knew it was Alfred Penhurst's, but apart from that, you didn't know who it was.
And what's your plan to destroy this machine? Training a couple of hundred people and send them to die against whatever they have to protect the island.
They're very well trained. They're not just a rabble of soldiers.
I'm not saying
We've got a proper assault force.
I'm not saying anything to belittle the New China Army. What I'm saying is that if we are here to tell you these things after everything we saw in London, Egypt, and Kenya, it's mainly because of luck rather than anything, rather than training or whatever. Are you sure this is going to make the cut? The plan is going there full force, and hopefully you'll manage.
Well, full force, yes, but without them knowing. We go there in the dead of night, probably when Aubrey is distracted or praying or whatever the fuck he likes to do at night, and prevent the machine from being finished. Simple as that. Problem is, nobody has actually reached the island as far as we're aware, and even if they did, they didn't live to tell the tale. So we have no idea what is on there to a degree. We don't know if Aubrey has people there to keep watch. We don't know about, the equipment, anything like that. There could be anything. And Aubrey knows unnatural things. When they went into a frenzy up in the savannah, they made those poor people do terrible, terrible things to each other. And then these huge winged creatures just came out of nowhere, and Sir Aubrey did that. Sir Aubrey made them come here. Some may call it magic, but it's not magic, because magic isn't real. This is real.
Yes, I believe some say been seen over Shanghai as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. If he can do it once, he can do it again. And I imagine Gavagan can do something similar. They're both part of the same team, after all. Hell, even Penny Foundation. They're from the same bloody place.
Well, we have tried to weaken them wherever we can. We've taken away their instruments and their information.
Yeah, well, you've obviously made ripples in some places, but we're not done yet. And while, okay, maybe it's just been luck, you've ended up here with us. Are
Yes.
you going to be a part of this with us? Will you help us?
Yes, I
Definitely.
think we
Yes.
Good. And you see him carefully roll up the map and put it neatly away in a cupboard. Again, he checks out of the window at least 3 times
will.
to make sure no
You
one's
a bit,
watching.
bit nervous or something, Jack?
Well, you just told me loads of people are after me. Of course, I'm
yes.
nervous.
Just wondered if he was waiting for a visit from somebody else.
You tell me.
Not
No.
that we're aware of. We don't have an assault team.
No. You've got a luck team.
We have an
Yeah.
A team, and they've gone for lunch.
Ah. Well, yeah, your lady friend who apparently worked for Gavagan isn't here.
No,
Yeah. We preferred she added elsewhere.
Lunch,
yes,
you say?
we have other
Yeah.
other leads to follow up.
What sort of leads? More important than this?
Potentially.
Not more important. We don't know that yet, but still going in the same direction, pointing in the same direction.
You must appreciate that we are new in Shanghai, and we're still learning who's who.
I'm afraid you don't have time to learn who's who. My good friend.
This is why our friends introduced themselves as associates of Gavagan, because we knew we were against the clock.
Yeah, I get that now. But I'd very much like to meet your other friends and make sure that we are fully cooperative and on the same side.
When and where?
When can you return?
When they
Tomorrow
finish.
morning.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We could make it 8 sharp here, or wherever you please.
Go to the place where you found Chu Min. Someone will
Mhm.
be there to meet you.
How do we recognize him or her?
He will ask if you want a sweet cake.
Fine. See you tomorrow then.
He gives you a small nod. but fairly promptly, you're not kind of pushed out, but you're ushered out again by some of the lackeys back through to the front door. And they give you just a kind of fairly deadpan "stay away," and then they shut the door.
Do we get our stuff back?
Yeah. They give you your weapons back, yeah. But only when you're definitely on the other side of the door.
All right. That was smart.
That was useful.
I do believe that was Team A rating.
And speaking of smart, shall we go back to the others? Who I believe you were still. I can't remember if you had fully decided on which lead you wanted to follow, if any, after looking at the houses.
No, we
looking
haven't.
at the hot houses.
I wanted to go and have a look at Madame Linian Yu's address.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
right.
take that. Yeah, we'll do that then.
Oh, that was easy.
Just to be clear, we've got Li Wen Chen with us, and who I'm guessing is probably back at the hotel.
Yeah. I mean, she can be with you if you want, but she's being very kind of lethargic and not really eating at this point either.
Oh.
She's getting worse.
Oh no. She needs to be in Kenya, doesn't she?
Where am I even looking? Where's that map? Oh, that's the player's map. That won't tell me where she is again. I vaguely remember where she is, but I just want to double check. But yes, you do have time to go there before dinner.
Let's check it out. Actually,
yes, there it is. Okay. Yeah, go on.
Just from a just so I've got it in my head. Is it possible, realistically? Obviously, it's possible, but realistically, to go from this house to the hotel where they're meant to meet to our hotel without us having to go way out of our way to do it? You know, is there a nice line from house to hotel to our hotel?
Do you mean to the restaurant?
The restaurant.
Okay, I was going to say it's just a restaurant rather than a hotel. Yeah. I mean, yes, although basically her home is the most south, so the restaurant is between you and her.
Right, because I'm thinking if we go there, we could walk the route between her house and a restaurant.
We would do that on the way to her house.
If you want.
Well, that's just how the geography works as described.
No, I was either way. I mean, you know, either that or we swing round, get hers, head north up to the restaurant.
I mean, I'm not sure it matters. We've no idea. I doubt she's going to walk it. You know, she's probably got a thingy.
A rickshaw.
And as previously analysed from the code, it's probably a depressed rickshaw at that.
Yes.
Well, not necessarily depressed, but emotionally unstable rickshaw, yes.
Yes. Borderline personality disorder rickshaws.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure what we're going to do after looking at this house, but I think it just might give us a bit of a picture of who we're going to meet.
Yeah. Get an idea of her. Lloyd Grossman and all that. Let's get an idea of the owner. Let's get an idea of the owner of the house from sort of looking at the house. The psychology of the homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to live in a house like this?
Right. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. So you do find her house on Yu Yuan Road in the Old City. And you notice there is a sign in Chinese, like a embossed sign, but also underneath in English it says the House of Quiet Repose. It's a pretty fancy place. Enclosed, it's not like mansion size, but it's certainly very nice and well off. And the first thing that you notice is at least 5 or 6 you think maybe servants or guards, fairly simply dressed, but they are kind of either moving around, patrolling slightly, looking out, and they do spot you quite quickly. And they're looking at you quite defensively before you even get near the place.
Yeah, this is me going to be a pedant. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to turn to Lee, and I'm going to ask him if he could translate the Chinese on our house. I want to see if there's anything specifically different about the Chinese name for our house and the English translation she's placed there. You know, whether the English is, you know, nice, happy home of retreat, and the Chinese says, you know, enter at your peril.
You can see that he's sweating a little under the collar. It is obvious that he knows that these people don't want you here. But he says, no, it is just simply her name in Chinese.
Okay.
Lin Yan Yu.
Okay.
Anything else, sir? And he's looking again, kind of back at
No,
these
we're not
guards.
sort of going up the drive or anything, are we? I mean, we're just walking down the
No,
street.
we're
Presumably
walking
other
down the street
buildings here.
past, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But the guards aren't being hostile, but they're just watching you very sternly.
As we walk past, as we sort of get past the sort of entranceway to house, and sort of look at the sign and look at the guard. Now, I'll beckon one over. Oh, hello.
No how.
I couldn't help but notice it's such a beautiful house. I see. Hang on a minute. I see it's Madame Lin Yin Yu lives here, but I was wondering what she did.
Do you want an appointment with her?
No. I was just curious as to who she was. It's such a lovely house. I was just curious.
She is prestigious, madam. She has prestigious house.
Okay. And how is she, like aristocracy, or is she a businesswoman, or what?
She is a flower woman. Owns many brothels.
Ah.
She is that kind of madam. Oh, well.
Well, thank you for letting me know. Have a nice day. And keep on walking.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, at this point, as we're heading, we're pretty much, I mean, if we're not passing the restaurant one way or the other, whatever, but we're sort of heading basically towards the hotel now, either via the restaurant or whatever. I think we can let Lee go ahead a few paces, because he clearly wants to get some distance from the house.
Zewei, thank you. And yeah, he
not too far, just, you know.
He thinks you're not looking, and he kind of does this with his shirt and collar, and smooths back his hair, and does trot ahead of you a little bit.
Well, he's all right. I'm attractive. I think she wants to kidnap me and Pranit, turn us into her whores.
Is Charles a bit offended that he wasn't picked?
No, Charles is quite literally has no idea how to respond to that. He's not sure which bit he's having to get his head around. Whilst Miss Jones, whilst I am absolutely convinced that you are an attractive lady, and in fact, you might be the kind of lady that she would want in her establishment. I'm fairly sure that Pranit is someone, if she has establishments that uses gentlemen like Pranit, would be someone who would fetch a pretty penny as well. I just I'm not quite convinced that she's after you for your radiant good looks, despite the way she described you in the letter.
Well, she only came after the attractive people in the group.
Well, given
I
the
mean,
fact-
Perry's very rugged, and your face is always red.
well, given that she might be wanting to kill us, I'm taking it as a small comfort that I'm not attractive enough to kill.
No, I was thinking of, she's not out to kill us; she's out to human traffic us.
Again, I go back to the small comforts of unattractiveness.
I'm sure it's helping you in this instance. You don't have to deal with the things Pranit and I have to face. Actually, I'm not sure Pranit has to deal with them either.
I sort of look at Annie. I'm trying to work out just how many satellites are actually orbiting round the gravitational pull of her ego.
I see. The claws are flying tonight. Does any? I'm talking to both groups here. Whatever team you think you are. Anything else you want to do before either meeting back up or heading to the restaurant? I'm assuming those of you who have been invited would.
We were going to pass the restaurant either on the way to that house or the way from the hotel.
Okay.
Just so we had an idea of where it was and.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's easy to find. It's kind of along the main street again, halfway between her house and yours. It's in a very nice part of the old city, very beautiful architecture, and it's a nice sort of big, spacious looking restaurant, even from the outside. Very hospitable looking doorman as well, who kind of tries to get you to come in the nicest, politest possible way.
Side streets? Alleys?
There are some side streets on your left that you could use. But it is quite a big, long building. So on its own side, no, not for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm more looking. This is when I wish Pranit and Perry were here because they're far more military minded. To see if we have to leg it. What's the best escape route? But they're far more.
You could try and hide inside a pufferfish. First thing that came to my head.
Run that by me again, but not with reference to the highly toxic animal.
You could hide inside a blank.
The one whose guts dissolve your innards if you accidentally eat the contents of the stomach.
It was the first thing that came into my head. Just ignore me.
Hide inside a pufferfish. Why?
Because death by anaphylactic shock sounds delightful. Let's go back to the hotel.
Yes.
Fair enough. You obviously know the anatomy better than I do of pufferfish. So, other two, are you also returning to your hotel?
Is it beluga? What's the bit of the pufferfish you can actually eat? There's like one little.
Beluga is another sort of cetaceous, like a whale or a dolphin.
Yeah.
I know. There's like one small part of a pufferfish that if you cook it for exactly the right amount of time, you can actually eat it.
I've set you off now.
But anything else, you will die a slow, miserable, and painful death.
Special license to cook it in Japan.
Yeah.
Wow. No.
We're going to the hotel, though.
Yeah, we'll go back. We've done our bit.
In spite of all this culinary disgust. discussing.
So when we see Perry and Pranit, we think we're closing in on Jack Brady.
Well, we did see you there actually, but yes, we've located Jack Brady.
Oh,
And we're here
He
to tell the
wasn't-
tale.
he wasn't staying at a whorehouse until recently, was he?
We don't know where. We didn't ask him that. Where he
No.
was living.
By the way, we all have a meeting with him tomorrow morning at the tea house.
Excellent. Then I can ask some
Someone-
relevant questions.
Mm-hmm.
I was just waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Well, we've got an army we can use now, so
And another satellite in orbit.
It just pop up.
That's Francois the First.
That's the name of my solar system. It's Francoise.
Wow.
The characters are just the planets.
Yeah, still, I was thinking, since we got time, are we going together at dinner, Annie, with this Lady Swallow?
Yes, I was thinking of bringing Wu. I think Wu needs some air.
Who?
I think Who actually really needs Kenyan soil, but in the absence of that, I think
Yeah.
I'd give her a little bit of an outing.
Oh, good. Okay. I know what you're up to.
What?
canary time.
Oh dear, I dropped her in the restaurant. Oh, and her cage came open. Oh no.
Why would I do that?
Better than a puffer fish.
Only if she's feeling up to it. But I'll be able to tell a lot from her body language. She's a good cold canary.
Oh god. Okay. So
Is it
both
just
of you
the
go-
two? Is it just the two of you that's going?
I was about to ask.
I think you should be armed and outside at the very least, if not in the place. We've no way of knowing what we're going into. They invited us, and it's all a bit blind. All we
What do
know
you say?
is that
What do you say, Perry, dear boy? Do you fancy a meal, my treat?
That sounds wonderful.
What? So you're all going in to eat?
I think Charles's suggestion there was that he'd be at a different table.
Yeah,
Oh right. You
Like I
have
said,
done that before, yes.
yeah, nearby, but not at the same table. Just in case anything kicks off, we're there.
I think
only
you should
thing-
wear disguises though, because
Yeah.
they obviously know who we are.
I was going to say they might recognise us.
Okay,
Um,
I've got a
one-
great idea. I'll dress as a rugged Canadian, and you dress as an English drunken fop. They'll never see it coming.
What, just rip off his moustache and stick it on yourself?
There's going to be a joke shop in the area. There's going to be a joke shop with a funny Kitchener mustaches. Your country needs you to eat in this restaurant.
The only thing I was worried about, is what I said there, is if she owns the restaurant, it could be a lot. We might be better off outside, as Annie first suggested.
Yeah, if she owns the restaurant, we are done for.
If we're all inside, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
whoever's inside is done for.
I was rather in the mood for some.
What's
But yes, we will stay outside.
Chelsea's
We'll pick up some
priorities.
street food. What's the signal for us to come crashing in with all guns blazing then?
Us screaming or being led out,
Okay.
or the sound of gunshots, or the sound of a rampant chameleon smashing tables.
It just always reminds me of the line from the Schwarzenegger film Commando. It said, "Don't break radio silence till you know I'm in there." How will I know? Because all fucking hell's about to break loose.
Oh dear. Okay. I think that'll be a good time. It's a little bit early, but a good time for a break before the next scene. So yeah, see you in a few.
All right. See you in a sec.
I'm assuming it's Matteo who's still viewing us.
Hello.
Nice relief to IKEA furniture building. I have been there and done that.
Yeah, feel your pain, mate.
I have sorted it out after Jason gave up.
No. I mean, there was the last thing we tried to build, which literally had the wrong components.
I thought
Okay,
you were very
that's-
good during the bed build, actually. Very helpful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I'm
I-
more practical around the house, and sorry, this is the way it is.
Yeah, but I've always like been fine following instructions and making things. I used to be obsessed with Lego. In fact, I was kind of OCD as to where it had to be. Like, it had to be exactly as the instructions said. I couldn't play with it or move stuff around. It had to be that. Nice little red devil sign.
I've got a small bookcase, a 6-foot bookcase, and 2 Kallax units from IKEA. They're a bugger to build.
They really are.
I was on my own. That Kallax, I made the mistake the first time I did the Kallax. I made the mistake I was putting it on its side and trying to put it together. I should have started from the bottom and just worked up.
I mean, anything with drawers is always a bit of a sock because there's just so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I think they're relatively simple. It's just the instructions would often benefit from a few words, but they don't put words in because then it wouldn't be
Yeah, but
language free,
as we discovered with that bed, there were 2 main problems. One was that they were the wrong components, so they literally wouldn't fit together. And the other one, as you rightly pointed out, was the person who put the instructions together didn't actually try making the damn thing because the steps were basically in the wrong order.
Yeah, they were.
So when we got so far, we had to then kind of take it apart again and redo it in order for it to fit everything. So,
yeah, the bed was particularly bad, but generally speaking, I mean, these things are usually pretty simple.
I find them pretty simple.
But it's just that IKEA in particular just doesn't put those little paragraphs of text that would be really helpful. Because of the whole, oh no, if you put a paragraph of text in, it would have to be Swedish.
Has anyone ever played that game? Guess whether it's IKEA furniture or a black metal band.
No.
I believe I
It's
did
impossible.
a quiz once.
I'm actually quite good at it, but only because I know the bands. Like Einherjar. Okay, what do I need for this next scene? Why is nothing coming up with that? No. Oh, that's odd. Okay, bear with me a moment. The images aren't in the folder for some reason, so I need to re-add them. Do talk amongst yourselves.
No, we've got nothing to talk about.
We're just looking at you.
Yeah, staring, actually.
Well, fortunately, I'm not looking at you. Or else that would be really weird.
It's after noticing Giorgio's face, it's kind of hard not to look at him there. That one.
You are welcome.
Have you considered entering that gurning competition?
Like a what?
Now, there's a phrase I've not heard in a long time.
I don't know what that means.
There's some little village or something somewhere in, presumably it's somewhere in the UK, God knows where.
It's up north. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
somewhere
Yorkshire
up
or
north, where they do this competition. It's a world championship, although pretty much only people from the village turn up. And you have to, basically, the winner is the person who pulls the ugliest face. It's called gurning.
Wow.
And people sort of contort their faces into all sorts of weird shapes. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at pictures.
Yeah, I've just
yeah,
sent a link.
it's something that could only happen in an island full of inbreeding. I mean, it's like the cheese rolling thing, isn't it? Where the people do the cheese racing down the hill. It's like,
That really
honestly, there is nothing better to do in Britain.
like chasing cheese.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have it up now. It's really weird because I made the folder but didn't put it in. Anyway, so of course you get freshened up, whether you're outside or inside, having dinner or not. And as it's getting dark, so sort of dusk, twilight around this point, you make your way back into the old city, to the Oriental Pearl. The two of you whom have been invited and have agreed to go in, you are greeted really quite promptly, very warmly, very politely by, you think, a host, doorman sort of guy. He has a big kind of almost like a lectern. It's quite grand looking, and he flicks through this rather large book of names to see, you know, are you definitely with Madame Lynn and so on? And of course, yes, you are. So he does invite you in.
Madame Min.
Lynn.
Lin. All right.
Madame Lynn. The other two, before I kind of describe what's actually in the restaurant and so on, the other two, whereabouts are you planning to be positioned?
What is in the rest of the street outside? Immediately opposite, if possible.
Basically, a perpendicular street. There is the odd sort of small stall of people selling stuff, but most people are packing up at this point. So there's not actually that many people here. It's kind of slightly in between the market sort of activity versus the nightlife.
We either find somewhere to hide or we keep moving, otherwise we're going to stand out a bit, aren't we?
Yeah, at the minute you might. And as well as the host, there's definitely kind of people working for the restaurant who tend to come outside every so often, give the street round the place a sweep, throw a bit of water down and things like that.
Get yourself
And
an
into the
easel
flower
and
baskets.
set up as a painter. That worked before.
I forgot all about that.
And he painted matchstick men and matchstick cats and dogs.
I mean, you could if you really wanted to, although you might struggle to find a canvas and easel at this hour.
There's a market. It's still open.
Well, no, I said there's a few small sellers dotted around. It's not an actual market. Most of that has disappeared by now. It's flash sale hour for more optimistic people.
We'll start by just wandering around stalls close to the restaurant then, just
Okay.
so if anything goes on inside, we'll be able to hear it. But
Okay.
we won't wander too far from the restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically just there's a couple of people selling things like walnuts, like roasted walnuts, yams, things like that. And then there's somebody else. You can see, Charles, straight away. This person is trying to sell exquisite jade, whereas it's just pieces of glass. They're just absolutely fobbing people off.
No. I will not use the line. I managed to derail one campaign by going and saying I have in my hand the most beautiful green.
I mean, you could, but the seller might not understand you at all, especially that context. Anyway, so the rest of you go inside, and yeah, it's an absolutely lovely, very exquisite and grand looking restaurant. You're led to one of the best tables as well, and all the tables are they're very low down, and the seating is depressed into the floor. So you're sitting normally on these lovely sort of plush cushions, but it's very kind of low down, so Eastern style sort of dining. Madam Lynn is not there as of yet, but there are a couple of, you think, more of her lackeys, Annie, who are just lingering in this more sort of private area that you are in at the moment. You're kind of away, if anything, from most of the restaurant, which is towards the front.
I shall put who on the table.
Okay, the table is very, very big. Beautiful square granite table with a lot of room. Quite a lot of it's dressed up already, so there's like a big lazy Susan and things like that. And the host does say that Madame Lynn will be with you shortly. But she does turn up in about 5 minutes or so. As she comes in, you almost hear her come in first as you hear her shoes clipping on the marble ground. And she comes almost sweeping past with this absolutely beautiful dress, very expensive looking. And you hear this sort of quite small, quiet at first, this sort of clicking sound. And it takes you a while to realize what it is, but you realize that she's sort of scraping long fingernails together, almost kind of twiddling, which are making this little sort of scraping sound. She's got many expensive rings on, jewelry, and so on. And she goes and sits opposite you. And she almost gives you this this bow as she sits and says, "Welcome. I am pleased to see you. Thank you for coming."
Hello, Madame
inviting
Genyu.
us in.
Yes, that
As
is my
you-
name indeed.
As your letter suggested, I have brought along one of my companions, and I point to who.
Ah. She kind of acknowledges it inquisitively. Just give me a second. You see, almost as soon as her bum makes contact with the seat, people are already starting to fuss around, kind of starting to redress the table. You can smell food that's sort of on the approach as well to your booth. Just finding some stats. Give me a minute. Okay. Okay. Annie gave psychology a tick. As she, almost with a slight kind of poker face, eyes up who, you think that she might even know what who is, or at least has an idea of what she could be.
Mm-hmm.
A very lovely little creature.
Yes, she is. Her name's Who. I call her Godslayer.
Quite a suitable name for a gug.
I think so.
Is there any particular reason why you have brought her so far from her home?
Well, I had hoped she would be useful, but the further she's gotten from home, the less active she's been, so I think I need to send her back.
Very cruel of you to do such a thing to such a small little creature. She is far enough away from her real home as it is, let alone the jungles.
Yes, well, I should be putting her back.
That is good to hear. But I am sure that she will enjoy some meat, perhaps. I'm sure we can get her some extra food. And she snaps her fingers, and again, immediately she's tended on to. You see somebody come out with a little bowl of very kind of tiny, meticulously chopped up little bits of meat for who, and just puts it next to a cage.
Okay, I shall put some bits in, see if she goes for it.
She does. She's slow at first, but yes, she does eat.
And so I'm curious, and I'm sure Pranit is too.
Ah, yes, the Atlas with the turban.
Pranit, nice to meet you.
Pranit. Punjabi. Very good.
Yes. Why are we here?
Well, and well, first of all, I should apologize. I have invited you fairly early in the evening, but we have much to discuss. I have noticed, and I was actually wondering where your associates were, but I believe they may be outside. I would need to check with somebody, and she signals to somebody to go off and have a look outside. Well, my little swallows have heard you talking about Brady. I believe you know who he is, and that you are looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, maybe we can come to some sort of an arrangement. And I do admire those with aesthetic beauty in all walks of life.
What's her appearance, by the way?
She is very beautiful. She's definitely of an older persuasion, 50s, maybe 60s, but she is very beautiful. And she has this incredible charisma about her
Mm-hmm.
that just absolutely ebbs and flows off her into the room. Planet's just all the water.
Regrettably, it did sound a little bit like fapping.
Oh, come on.
I didn't want to say, but
It did.
It did, but I kept my mouth shut. You were premature. No. So she's very she does a lot of the pleasantries. So she doesn't talk too much, for example, before dinner is served, unless of course you ask her things. But she's very calm, very polite, commands the air very much so. But yes, I should probably explain what my interest in Mr. Brady is. Mr. Brady has done quite an unfortunate thing. He's putting his fingers into places that do not concern him, and taken things that do not belong to him.
Oh, what
You
has
saw.
he taken?
You saw my interest for your Gug creature, and I have a rather extensive book collection, very valuable books, and he has stolen one. I was wondering if you knew of this book, whether you knew where it was. If not, that does not matter. I'm not expecting you to know everything about Shanghai, but at the same time, I can see your potential, and I can see that you might be able to help with this. You are interested in fighting him yourself, no?
These books, I don't suppose they happen to document the process to make capstones.
Ah, that is one of the aspects of the scrolls, yes.
Is that one of the missing ones?
He has taken all 7, yes.
I see.
Interesting you would know such information without reading it.
Oh, I have a friend who visited you in a dream.
Well, it is not only I who is such an avid fan of the occult. I believe you may be too.
Yes, I've studied the occult for many years.
Then we are quite alike. I appreciate that very much. And what about you, Pranit? What are your dealings, if anything, with such things?
They are more sort of a necessity rather than a full-formed interest.
Hmm. And yet, I sense that you may know a little, at least.
Out of necessity, yes.
Out of necessity. Do you mind me asking what necessity?
I don't mind you asking, and I hope you don't mind me not answering your question.
I am only asking because why should your beautiful body be spoiled with such things?
You'll have to forgive his defensiveness, but he is a soldier.
Ah, I understand. I take on various people. Soldiers are not an exception. They do sometimes take a while to come round, but they do eventually. It is just a completely different lifestyle, shall we say.
Quite.
Meanwhile, jumping back to the other two outside for a moment, and I'll just flick your pictures down here. So you are still kind of lingering outside. Eventually, you come to the end of what's left, and again, by the time you start making your way back, almost every single person now is packed up for the day.
Okay. What do we think? Sort of take position near the restaurant, just ready.
Yeah, I mean, if we can have somewhere out direct line of sight, perhaps, but we can overhear or see the front of the restaurant. Yeah, because obviously we don't know. We think they might know us by sight, so we don't want to be too obvious about it.
Okay. As you take a position nearby, do you do so kind of keeping an eye on the front door? Do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
The host, almost like he can just not sense is the wrong word, but almost like he knows every single person passing by. Maybe he's done this job for a very long time. He doesn't leave his little spot, but he does look out to you and gives another big polite smile and says, my friends, if you wish to eat, you need to go inside.
Maybe later.
This is a prestigious restaurant and a very prestigious clientele is dining here. She would be most worried to hear of any lurking men outside the establishment.
So much for not recognizing us.
Yeah, that's the trouble. I thought they would know what we look like.
I suggest, gentlemen, either you come in and eat or you move along.
Oh, perhaps we'll move along.
To which, suddenly, almost like synchronization, Charles, you recognize them with the dress that they were wearing before at the mansion, the house. Some of Lynn's lackeys come out and approach you straight away and says, the madam wishes to see you.
How can we refuse such a polite invitation?
You should not, for your own safety.
I was going to say, with violence and
violence, bloodshed, and murder and mayhem.
Yeah.
To which both of you feel just a little prick in your stomach as you feel that already, very discreetly, they've just taken out a couple of small knives and just pressing them to your stomach gently.
I didn't think that was on the menu.
It is very nice food. We recommend.
Restaurant, obviously.
Really wasn't expecting knife to be the thing that was filling my belly.
Is the chef that good? You have to force people in.
Madam Lynn wants to see you, not the chef.
Well, I suppose we better make our way in then.
Well, I suppose we can't keep the lady waiting. Lead on, Macduff.
You feel the prick be removed from your skin, and they do indeed lead you in.
There's just part of me that wants to say, and there's the prick walked away.
And yeah, you're escorted to said booth where the others are. Ah, there you are. I was just wondering if you had decided to leave us entirely. Please do sit. There's plenty of
Well,
food to go around.
we were encouraged to come in.
Yes, we were.
Well, yes, I asked for you. I told my servants to get you.
If we are got.
Indeed.
Did you
I,
instruct your servants to use, shall we say, force?
I do when needs be. That is what servants are for. But anyway, let us not talk of such things. Let me recommend some food to you. I appreciate that this is a very foreign climate for all of you. And she starts listing off a couple of things. She speaks of one which basically is infused with opium, which she highly recommends. The malantong. I would highly recommend the xiaolongbao as well. Beautiful little dumplings.
I have a feeling.
And
that
kind of goes back to pleasantries in this
I
tense atmosphere.
I sort of turn to Perry and I say, oh boy, I have a slight feeling that given my particular metabolism, that my taking opium may not go down well.
No, I think I'm going to avoid that if possible. So I think you should.
Yes.
It is not
I'll have
for
the-
everyone.
I'll have the dumplings and maybe some of those pork things.
Ah, yes.
And
Yes, also
yes,
very good
and
here.
some of that and some
Absolutely.
of
Have as much as you like. The
that.
dinner is on me.
Charles has never heard that before.
Actually, come to think of it, Charles, can you remind me what your appraised skill is? Is it 50?
My appraise skill.
Hmm.
No, it is 75.
Ooh, okay. In that case, as you kind of get a bit dumbfounded that she says that, you know, it's on you, it's on me and things like that, you can't help but see, more so than the others, her dress, her rings, they're not only beautiful aesthetically, they're not only expensive, but they are made incredibly well. And you can't help but just study them a little bit.
Don't study too hard. You'll have to start making sand checks.
Trust me, I'm more worried about the fact in case she calls over the servants to stop me from checking her too intently.
She does see you watching, and she doesn't say anything. In fact, it seems to be that she's quite used to it, and she doesn't mind. In fact, she quite likes it. She likes the attention.
Something to Margaret later on.
So what else are in these scrolls you've lost to Jack Brady?
Well, I have not read them all myself. They are simply part of my collection. They are a status symbol, if you will. And that status symbol has disappeared, which is quite insulting, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes.
A pretty dangerous status symbol, though, don't you think?
Well, we were
Well,
following.
why? Do you know what this spell does? I assume it is a spell.
No,
or a
no,
ritual.
no. I'm not talking about the occult nature of it, rather than you had them stolen from you. And apparently this person was not that evil enough to do you any harm.
Well, I was not here for him to do any harm too. I came back to Shanghai in order to track this person down.
Well, we've made some progress. We've been following a lead in some brothels on what was the name of that road? Basically, I'll tell the story of the investigation, which I know doesn't lead to Jack Brady, but
Lantern Street,
present it. I present it as if we think it will.
Lantern Street.
So what do you mean in terms of you think it will, as in what? Say that Brady was there or something?
Yeah, I'm going to present it as if we're tracking Brady and this is where we think he is. But actually, I'm talking about the investigation on Lantern Street.
Yeah. Okay.
Try and lead her away from, lead her that way. Make her think, Brady's over here rather than...
That certainly coincides with other sources that I have heard, that he could easily be there. Although I imagine he's not there anymore.
No, he seems to have moved on with one of the girls, taking one of the girls with him. God, what was her name? I'm not sure I've got the right notes.
Oh, Miss Choi. I don't think so.
Choi Mei Ling.
I don't think so. More than likely, she is in the hands of Ho Fong. He does like to pick them off every so often.
How do you mean? I mean, I've heard a little about this Ho Fong. Everyone seems to have heard of him. But I've not met the man myself.
I didn't realize that you wished to meet him.
It wasn't on my agenda, no. It's just everyone seems to mention him like he's everywhere in the city, and I know nothing about him.
It may be best that you do not meet him. I would hate for such beautiful skin to be tainted in such a violent way.
Could you possibly elaborate on that?
Not on the details of how he makes it tainted, but
he is quite a ruthless individual. I am surprised you do not know much about him yet.
Well, we've only been here a couple of days.
I understand. That would explain why I have not seen you in these parts before. I would have known, surely. He is a businessman, and lots of people see him that way, but he is also very much in charge of another organization. I do not know if you have heard of the Order.
Order of...
The Bloated Woman?
The very same, yes.
I mean, I've heard of it from my research into the occult. I've not had dealings with the Order of the Bloated Woman.
I am very pleased. They are quite fundamentalist in their thinking, not open-minded at all to new ideas.
Well, what kind of new ideas do you like?
Anything that involves aesthetic beauty. From all walks of life. But she looks back at you again, Annie, and says, but I have a feeling you're not telling me everything. I think that you have possibly had dealings with this Order, or perhaps you haven't had dealings with them directly, but something has led you here to look for them.
As far as I understand it, the Order of the Bloated Woman is very much a Shanghai thing. And I've only just arrived here.
Shanghai, Hong Kong, they possibly have grown to other places by now nearby.
Well,
Vietnam, Laos.
Confess, we've stopped at Hong Kong for a few days before coming here, but I didn't come across any Order of the Bloated Tongue.
Then you were quite lucky. They love to dress themselves up to be radicals against the British over there, I believe.
Well, you see, being British, I'm not sure I would be well received if I had met them.
No, quite. This is what I'm saying.
Yes, I sounds like we had a lucky escape there. What?
And more food is replaced and so on. Or rather, the empty dishes are replaced with more food.
Just out of character, why do I feel we're getting fattened up for the kill?
Yeah.
Last Supper and all that.
I'm on the fence as to which way she actually is, but I'm curious.
I'm
There's
more-
another name that keeps coming up whenever Ho Fung is mentioned. I
Oh,
also hear this name, the Paler Viper. Is he an Alfred Penhurst?
I have heard of an Alfred Penhurst, which seems to have dealings with Mr. Ho, but I have not met him in person.
Oh no.
A pale viper, you say? How interesting. Perhaps an occult symbol. I do not know, I'm afraid, but I'm happy to look into it for you. And almost immediately, before you even say, she snaps her fingers and gets some lackeys to her table.
There is a question, Madame Ling, that I wanted to ask you. You said before that you tracked Brady here after he stole these scrolls from you. So where did you have them stolen?
From my home, of course. I have a home here in Shanghai.
Is that the I do believe we passed that home in our travels today, did we not, Miss Judge? If that's the same house, I do have to ask a very interesting question at this point. There were a fair few guards
Yes.
around, which leads me to the obvious question: how did the bugger actually get the scrolls out, given the amount of security you have? Or is that security only there since the robbery?
You see that her fingers tense up, and you almost hear her nails scraping on the table as she does so.
Nerve
says,
hit. Brilliant.
My swallows are extremely competent people. He was extremely lucky, let's put it that way. But he does not have long before we close in on him. And it seems that your beautiful associates here are going to help me. I am most grateful.
Well, we've got some way toward doing so. But as we mentioned, he's moved on from the brothels.
Maybe this will help steer your minds a little. And once again, she snaps her fingers. She does this a lot. She snaps her fingers, and first comes in this this lovely kind of velvet box with beautiful patterns on, kind of a box about this big. And she opens it up, and there's this very tiny little book, almost too small to write in. But it's presented to you, Annie.
Oh.
And she says, this book is one of my collection, but I am willing to give it to such a beautiful lady.
Well, thank you. What is it?
Well, it is, of course, to do with the occult. I will get it translated for you. Do not worry before you leave my shores. But I hope you enjoy it. It is mainly to do with rituals, traditions, Eastern traditions, occultist cultures of...
Fascinating, but be quiet, I'm trying to read.
And as for you, my beautiful Atlas, and this other man comes out with a long box, and she opens it and presents it to you, and it is a new sword. It looks brand new, perfectly clean, shiny, even more beautiful than your previous one.
Now
I
I'm
believe
gonna
you
help
are
her.
missing this, are you not?
How could you possibly know that?
I am a knowledgeable lady. I see a Sikh without a sword. That is most concerning. So I had one made for you.
This is most kind of you.
It is, isn't it?
Obviously, that wasn't necessary.
Well, maybe it is. I
And
am
why
more
is
than
that?
happy to give you further gifts, both of you, in order for you to help.
Oh, yes, of course. It's a Chinese custom, isn't it? We should have bought gifts ourselves. I'm afraid I didn't think of it.
You do not need to worry. Say not for now. As you said, you have only been here 2 days. Our traditions here are quite different to that of London, America.
I can smell this situation reeks of shit as soon as I
Yeah.
walked into that fucking
Well,
restaurant.
You can make psychology rolls if you like, since you're not quite sure what her dealings really
Okay.
are.
I know she's full of shit. No, I miss.
open
Of
to everyone?
course, I fucking miss.
If I'd had
Bonus
any
points.
one of the many improvement rolls I will be getting on that, I'd have probably passed, but no.
I passed by
Was
one.
that?
Mhm.
I would like to spend 4 points of luck
Mm-hmm.
To
make
make
it
it
an
a hard
extreme.
pass. Oh,
to make it an
extreme.
extreme.
I'm sorry.
I passed it.
Very nice. Okay. So yeah, Perry, you think that yes, some of it could be genuine, some of it maybe not. She's wording it in a very specific way. Charles, you definitely get the impression you've not seen the likes of her before, of course, but you've definitely seen people a bit like her in your time in kind of rich circles, where they're kind of almost like a neutral force to be reckoned with, in that they could easily side with anybody they wanted as long as it helps them.
Yeah.
So you definitely think, especially from the way she talks about Ho Fong, you think maybe she's dealt with him before, maybe she's still on his side, although you don't know at the minute, her affiliation. But the point is that she's called you in because she thinks that you will be of a help in some way, and it doesn't mean a bad way. It's like not necessarily to take advantage of you, but it's what she wants to do at the time.
Yeah. Have money will travel.
Yeah, the problem is everyone we're meeting is a potential ally. And one of them's got to be a bad guy. It's just not statistically likely to be this many good guys.
Actually, I have a feeling that when it all goes down, Ho Fong is going to be the main villain, along with Aubrey and Gavagan. Brady and the new model army are on the side of the Angels, or at least on our side for the moment. Our interests align.
Yeah, well,
And Lin Yen Yu is literally sitting at the sidelines, looking to see
Japanese
who wins.
Navy.
Yeah, looking to see who wins, and then sticking her flag there
I
and
think
saying, "I was with you all the time."
I think they're potentially all allies, as long as we don't tell them about each other.
Yeah, because then you've got the Japanese Navy as well. It's like, now there's too many allies here, which either means the bad guys are really bad and this is a gift, or actually, no, they're lying.
Well, it's more a case of I think it's more a case of we could find that there is common ground between all the factions we've met so far, including the Japanese Navy, which is stopping the cultists.
Yeah, and she's clearly using occult magic for her beauty.
Yeah, whereas beyond that common ground, they can't stand each other and would happily rip each other's throats out after they've gotten rid of this common enemy. Then they'll start tearing each other asunder, which is why we get them all together kick the fuck out the cultists, and then we scarper before they turn on each other.
Well, there is another reason for potentially so many different alloys. We're in real trouble and we need that many different alloys.
Yes. Yes,
Very
and given
metagaming of you.
well, given that our biggest successes have been when we've actually had allies with us. Yes, please.
I mean,
Let's have allies, please.
they've definitely got their own agendas, all of them.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to not tell them about each other as much as possible.
No, of course not. Especially the new China army and the Japanese.
Or I forgot what she's called. This one and Brady. Don't mention Brady.
Yu and Brady need to be kept at arm's length.
Speaking about the Japanese for a second, would that be worth it to tell them already about the Great Dragon Island in order to ask them about how do you fucking call it? Okay, to watch what they're doing there by a plane.
It might be worth a shot, but I think we need to use a corporate phrase, get our ducks in a row first. But this is all a discussion we can't really have at this dinner table.
No.
Definitely.
Oh no! I was just.
Oh yeah. I know it's all players.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a big long conversation the characters are going to have after dinner if we're still alive.
Played this campaign for so long, I think I've actually got a sense now of whether you're talking in character or not at any point. It's great.
So, I mean, certainly when we find Brady, if we manage to catch up with him, he seems quite elusive at the moment. But certainly we'll endeavour to recover your books. I mean, we're not really fans of his, you understand. We need to catch up with him for something he's done to a friend, and that's owing.
Really? Well, then we are definitely on the same page. But
think so.
Even the most elusive snake loses its coils eventually. I'm under complete faith that you will find him.
I'll certainly give it a go.
But I would definitely advise you to be careful if you are snooping around, especially near any of Ho Feng's premises. I would certainly not want him to pick you up like he did with Choi Mei Ling.
Yes, he sounds like a right character.
I could come in and get you out, but at the same time, he is quite a strong-willed man, and I can't always wrap him round my little finger.
Well, no, I've no business with the Ho Feng, but this I must admit to some personal curiosity over this Alfred Penhurst. I can't help but feel that he's perhaps the same man as an Aubrey Penhurst, not Penhew.
Penhew.
I see. So he is using a pseudonym. Is there any particular reason for that?
Well, that's what I'm curious about. That's sort of why I'm hoping at some point to bump into him and see if I can work out if that's true or not. It's the boat of his, the Dark Mistress. I
have seen that boat once or twice, yes.
Yes, and I thought I could tie that to Aubrey Penhew, but then when I checked the ownership documents, it was owned by Alfred Penhurst. And, obviously Aubrey Penhew was an associate of Brady's, which is why I was looking into it. But then this Alfred Penhurst turned up.
Oh, really?
And I just couldn't help but wonder, is Aubrey Penhew perhaps using an alias? And if so, perhaps that's where Jack Brady is.
Well, I do not care what the man's name is, but if he is an associate of Brady, then that is quite significant because that could potentially mean that Brady has at least told him about the books and perhaps has them as well himself.
Or perhaps Brady was working for Aubrey or Ho Fung.
Well, either way, it does not matter. I just want my books back.
Yes, but you see, if do you see what I'm saying? That if Aubrey Penhew and Alfred Penhurst are the same person, and
Then he is not very good with disguising his name.
well,
They're practically
no,
the
but
same.
if they are the same person, that could mean because Aubrey Penhurst well, the boat has been seen a lot at Ho Fung's warehouse, I understand. So that could
Yes.
mean Jack Brady may have been working for Ho Fung because Aubrey and Jack
No.
Brady go back.
No, he isn't.
No?
If he was, then Ho Fung is a very good liar, and normally he isn't.
I see you've already inquired with Ho Fung.
Of course I have. I've inquired with many people about where my books are. They're very important to me.
Well, it was just a line of thinking.
You may think all you like, my dear.
Out of
And,
character brackets and an attempt to get it going after Ho Fung.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good attempt.
Ooh. And
But she's, I think she's straddling. She's playing every angle. I think she's anything to stay on top.
yeah, Annie and Perry, you basically get that from psychology roles as well.
Okay.
In that she's definitely spoken to Ho Fung about Brady to try and glean information from him, kind of like the way you're doing now with her. But also, you think that maybe she's spoken to people who work for Ho Fung or associates of Ho Fung, to outstretch her net as much as possible.
Well, there you have it. That's all our cards on the table. Pork's delicious, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Oh, I've just
Absolutely.
your
Although
culinary
really, Shanghai-
tastes are mwah.
Well, of course, I very much instruct that they perform the best when I'm here. But Shanghai is well known for its fish as well. If you can squeeze any more into your bellies, I do recommend the salmon. But I appreciate we've had a few courses now. Any more to drink or anything? Any beer, wine? I could see
for me.
that my keen-eyed appraiser here, who seems to love my dress and jewelry, very much enjoys his drink.
I'm curious, though, where did you hear about us from? I mean, we've just arrived.
Well, like I said, my swallows are very competent.
So
I'm
your
very-
swallows following us? I mean,
I am a madam of a very prestigious set of brothels, my dear. I should know about anyone coming into my city.
So it was from our inquiries at one of the brothels on Lantern Street.
They are very secretive and elusive. It may have been there, or it may have been bars, meetings with other people. Oh yes, there was that fellow of a Scottish heritage, wasn't there? Yes, I believe I did send some to visit him.
Scottish heritage.
McTrum.
McChum. Oh, him.
Yes.
Well, I never went there.
In fact, it is coming back to me. The two of you were talking about having a reunion of sorts with him. So, obviously, things went sour after this reunion by the sounds of it.
I wasn't there. I couldn't speak for that.
Well, she turns
No.
to Perry and Charles.
No. We have been trying to track Brady. We thought the barman might have some information. We tried to prise it from him by the ruse of saying that Perry was an old friend.
I see.
I don't think it worked that particularly well.
Whilst quite a clever way to glean information, a little too much overcompensation.
Tell that to Annie.
What I'm saying is, I can teach you to glean information better from people.
I may very well. I might take you up on those particular lessons, madam.
That'd be very useful.
Yeah. Very useful indeed.
But we did gain some information from him.
You notice actually, Perry, that she's not really giving you much eye contact at all during the whole meal, but she does eventually turn to you at that point and says, so what are your abilities, American?
Canadian.
My apologies. You do sound very similar.
How dare you?
I'm not the scholarly type. I'm more of an outdoorsman. I handle more along Pranit's sort of line of work.
Outdoors as in countryside?
Yeah.
Wilderness?
Safaris, expeditions.
Yes, I see. Well, that explains why you're not feeling so comfortable here.
It's a very big city.
Indeed, it is.
A lot of people.
Well, the longer you stay, the easier it gets, of course.
Yes.
By the way, is Lee Wen-chung with you? Or have you left him back at the hotel? Excuse me.
I don't think we would have taken him on this meeting, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd have given him the night off.
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, the poor guy was stressed out enough going near our house. I don't think he'd be particular. I think he'd hate us for the rest of our lives if we took him to dinner with her.
No, it's fine. I'm just checking.
I was going to say actually, she seems to know an awful lot about what we're doing and saying. Are we sure that the translator guy is not a plant?
No.
Oh no! Let's not start double thinking on ourselves again. I think Occam's. Maybe Lee's passing information back to her.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, she seems to know what we're
I thought you meant the translator of the little tiny book for Annie or something.
No, my gut instinct is we're being followed. They've got a tail on us.
If they can overhear what we're saying very, very closely.
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Elementary.
But again, something to discuss later. Hello, Fajuk.
Oh, hello, Fajuk.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Nice
Fajuk.
to see you. So I guess dinner draws to a natural close. There's a bit more topping up of drinks just to lubricate you and wash the food down and things. But she does another kind of little twiddling with her fingernails, which creates that sort of clicking sound again, and says, well, the Wise King has used beaters on the first side. I will be in touch on the second side. And she looks particularly at Charles. But I've taken up more of your time than needs be. You are free to leave whenever you like. If you wish to stay, or if you wish to perhaps indulge with me later, then I would not be complaining at all. But I appreciate that you are maybe tired. We have talked business for a long time.
It has been a very long day, and you have given us much food for thought, pun most intended.
Mostly over
Yes, I
what
realised.
is meant by indulge with you, actually, says Annie innocently.
I thought my English would have been sufficient to hint at you correctly. I am a madam. You are very beautiful, as is your friend here, and she again looks at Pranit.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I heard you, Jason.
Yeah.
What was it? Connection again?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I heard you. I just said I looked at Pranit and said, oh, what? I didn't hear. Didn't hear.
No, as in she says to Annie, you are very beautiful, as is your friend. Looks at Pranit.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I'm not taking the sword though.
Oh,
Oh,
You're not taking. Whoa, why?
Because I don't want to commit to anything by accepting the sword.
I have a feeling committing suicide might be the result of not taking it.
That you're basically, that's not committing, that's rejecting.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that's super rude. No, I'm taking it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a gift.
I forgot that was like super extra double
final answer?
rude.
You're
Yeah.
definitely taking.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
Okay, you are correct. That would have been incredibly insulting.
Yes. Yes.
That's
That
like,
would have been,
yeah.
that would have been a full par and a half.
But nonetheless, Annie persists with her complete innocence.
Perhaps it would be best if I showed you rather than told you.
Because
And at
Annie
this
has
point-
no
at this
concept of woman on woman sex.
At this point, Charles is going to rise. He's going to bow, thank the madam for a most beautiful meal and the most pleasant of company. But I must take in the evening air.
Absolutely.
And as I walk past, am I able to do this and walk past Annie?
Sure.
At which point, I'm just going to gently tap her on the shoulder and say, "Don't worry, it's okay."
I'm just confused. Does she mean like a sherry evening?
I'm going to head out because I'm trying to stifle my laughter.
The nails are a considerable length for a woman of the 1920s for Duke, so sort of, this long sort of thing.
Yeah, I
They're
think
not,
she's
like,
like
crazy
basically a Cthulhu insect who keeps herself looking beautiful with spells.
Who definitely looks like she's felt better for eating, but she's still not her usual self.
Well, I best get Who back to the hotel. And, I have a thought, actually. I think it's the city. If I could get her a bigger cage and put some plants in it, that might be a little better for her. Right. I must find a botanist or a plant seller, flower stall, something.
Well,
Be able to get them in the morning.
I was going to say that they're not open now, but yeah, it's possible. It's Shanghai. It's got pretty much everything you could want in the city.
Yeah.
There's flower girls. There's bound to be flower sellers.
Well, you say that, but Who hasn't found what she wants? But then she's stuck in a cage.
She is, yes.
Like a cat, just doesn't speak English. You're like, I need to communicate with you, fluffy being. you won't speak properly.
Yes, so you head on out, and I suppose you almost in unison do this exhale of relief as you leave the place. It's of course dark by now. The moon above you, almost on the verge of a full moon now. It kind of shines over a clear night. Still fairly warm. It's definitely cooling down, but fairly warm. As you head back to your hotel. Is there anything else you want to do today?
I have a feeling there's going to be a post-match analysis once we get back to the hotel.
And can we make sure we'll have a look to see if anyone's following us on the way back to the hotel? I think we need to be more paranoid.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to act like Jack Brady, basically.
So you think maybe she sent some of her servants to check that you're definitely going back to the hotel rather than say somewhere completely unexpected. But once it's fairly obvious that you are back, then they leave you alone.
Which leads the question: is that just a case of the servants we can see?
We know we can probably get hold of the books.
Well, I know. Yes, I mean we're here basically to look for those books, and we know where they are now. So no, we're not missing that meeting in the morning. We just need to make sure we're not followed.
What would Jack Brady?
Yeah, right. We were told to go where we met Mr. Chin and wait for someone to ask us if we want any sweet cake. They will lead us to Brady again.
Is that what she meant by indulging? I didn't think of cakes. I didn't even know they did cakes here.
Maybe she meant buns.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. Saucy.
Either way, don't know what to do, honestly.
We find ourselves in the familiar territory of having far too many plates to spin and not knowing which plates are good for us and which plates aren't.
Well, I think the first thing we do is get hold of the books. The second thing we do is don't give them to her.
Yeah.
Well, we need look. Whether I'm not convinced that she's actually a cultist, although she clearly knows a lot about it. But then so did I. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Ho Fung is clearly the super bad.
Yeah, she, from what I saw this evening, she comes across as someone who will play every and any angle to keep herself ahead. If she finds it in her interest to side with us, she will do so. If she finds it in her interest to side with a cultist, she will do so. It's all about who she feels is going to get on top and serve her.
And if she finds that we've made contact with, let's say we manage to make contact with Brady and then don't tell her, we could be making an enemy of her. We will be.
She's definitely pushing her own agenda, but this doesn't make it any less dangerous than Ho Fang.
But she knew what he was on site.
Yeah.
So she's a bit more than just being an occultist, isn't it?
She's
she knows her stuff.
Yeah, she's not a mere cultist, and I believe we can rule that out.
As far as we know, she could be working for the cult, just pretending she doesn't, and
she is an unknown quantity.
Getting us to do a dirty work.
But quite frankly,
as far as I'm concerned, the only thing, or the most important thing, is that we managed to make another capstone.
Yes, we need the books.
But that supersedes any other outcome here. Need to make another capstone, get it back to Egypt.
Get it back to Egypt.
Got to put it on top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a possible way of doing that now.
Perry looks it looks very confused.
Yeah, I don't believe it is worth it to put it back again.
Life joke.
Bye-bye.
Did you miss the plot?
No, but the Black Pharaoh is not there anymore.
Yes, that's the point. That's why we need the capstone.
Yeah,
Show
but
back in it.
we need to seal the pharaoh somewhere. It was used on the bent pyramid while it was buried there. The capstone was broken, and now the pharaoh is fucked off.
Yeah,
Well-
but the capstone will go wherever he is, and we
Inside Aubrey Penhew.
put him.
We'll see what the scroll says, but I thought it was just a case of repairing the pyramid because his corpse is there or something. Because it's not actually arisen; he's only turns up briefly, doesn't he?
If it's a case that it needs to go back to Egypt, we have a possible way in there now.
Yeah, it's called boat.
Yeah, but I mean in terms of going somewhat surreptitiously. We've got that newspaper man now, who's a friend with the newspaper guy in Egypt. He
Yeah,
could
Nigel.
send it to the other.
Right.
I mean, he could be working for her, actually.
Yeah, I know, but it's.
I don't think he owns a boat though.
But the only thing is, I mean, we could, if we do manage to remake this thing and think, oh, we're going back to Egypt, we still can stop this machine off of Japan, which is the red dot on the map for the pyramid, I think.
Yeah, could be. I mean, yeah. Look, let's not worry about what we're going to do when we make the capstone until we find out how to even make it, because that in itself could be a whole quest.
I'm very worried about that island because the whole thing. I mean, it's a volcano. It's a blooming Dr. Evil ending. That is.
Jason said it was a doozy of a chapter close. He never said anything about flipping James Bond style villain hideout in a fucking volcano.
Oh, come on, they're all ludicrous endings. All of them have a crescendo. Have you not noticed?
Yeah, but we've kept the crescendos down to a bare minimum.
No, we haven't.
Oh,
End of every chapter. End of every chapter. Shit goes wrong and there's monsters flying around. That's masks. Deal with it.
could be worse.
TLDR.
This time, can we get the Japanese Navy to shell the island before we send in the Chinese army?
Shell?
Maybe.
It's 1925, man. It's not.
Yeah, they're battleships.
Battleships.
Yeah, they're battleships.
I thought you meant like from as in air to ground shells.
No.
I was gonna say, geez, it's not like the end of World War II, not atomic bombs.
No,
I think at this point, the only, I think the Royal Navy had aircraft carriers of various experimental types. And I think by mid-20s, the Americans did. The Japanese, I'm trying to think if they built theirs yet. They had loads by World War II. I'm just not sure if they had by 1925. I don't think they had built them up yet.
The Brady 25 was still pretty early.
Yeah, I think the aircraft carriers are post-Manchuria.
They haven't started arming yet, have they?
You've got to wait for... no, I think they started arming for Manchuria, but they didn't need aircraft carriers for that. You've got to wait for Yamamoto to get back from the US first before they start the aircraft carrier stuff.
No. I do have some information on. Let's see.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, I'm doing it just
I'm
now.
doing now.
Yeah, here we go. So they certainly had rather huge ships.
Oh, yeah, battleships are definitely a thing at this point in time.
Yeah.
No, they had an aircraft carrier in 1922.
They did have the aircraft Mitsubishi 2MR.
I'm just
which they did
looking
for
at
aerial
the
reconnaissance.
Imperial Japanese Navy battleship Nagato, circa 1925, and it's
Actually, the host show.
I would say it was armed.
Actually, they had the first purpose-designed aircraft carrier in the world. In
Okay,
1922.
yeah, because a lot of the British Navy ones, as I said before, they were experimental. We learnt things about where the tower should be. after we crashed into them a few times. Anyway, I mean, then the first ones of all, of course, were it was seaplanes. So a seaplane would take off from the carrier, then land in the sea, and then crane it back on. Anyway, whole diversion. The answer is yes, they have aircraft carriers, but no, battleships would be the go-to at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So aside from possibly getting the Japanese involved, what is your plan for tonight / tomorrow?
Just trying to deal with tomorrow first. We need to make sure we aren't tailed. And I honestly don't know how to do it. We haven't got any disguise skill between us.
My honest.
Actually, I've got an idea.
Well, I was going to say,
let's go to a different hotel tonight.
You just want to make sure you're not followed.
Yeah, because if we're not being followed now, and we can check the streets are practically empty because it's late at night, right? So let's go to a different hotel where we aren't known.
We have absolutely no idea or indication that she wouldn't know somebody in there.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Although
we
she
may even
definitely
end
knows
up
our
in a
current
worse
hotel.
situation.
But she definitely knows our current hotel because she sent letters there. I just don't want her knowing about tomorrow morning's meeting.
Which is obviously just about eating cakes and nothing else. It's like a coffee morning.
Don't want her to know about the cake shop. That's my little indulgence.
I'm sure she could think of some indulgence with cakes.
But will she get to eat it?
Depends on her mood at the time, I guess.
So, yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. But then, of course, we'll be smelly tomorrow.
Yeah, we definitely got to lose the tail for that.
I mean, there are plenty of far more low-profile hotels and accommodation you could check in at if you wanted.
Yeah, we could try to slum it and sleep with cockroaches. But I think one of the biggest problems is that we're basically tall white people in China.
I'm not white.
You're tall,
standing out at the other end of the spectrum.
Big guy with a sword.
Hold on. This is me as player because I can't remember whether we were here. Did she mention that she knew about you going to that tea shop?
No, she didn't mention it.
Yeah, I thought I'd heard. No, that's good.
She alluded to brothels and bars.
But not the tea shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is, I don't really want to be seen entering that warehouse because the Japanese Navy are keeping their eye on it. I mean, you weren't followed when you went in, were you? Or did you not check?
Were the Japanese watching the warehouse, were they?
They're the ones who told us about it?
Don't think so.
No, the Japanese basically had nothing.
The Chinese guy who met in the tea shop told you about the warehouse.
The harbour master told you about the warehouse mostly. If I remember
the new
right,
China Army one?
No, the harbour master.
Yeah, are you talking about the new China Army warehouse or the Ho Fung warehouse? Because the harbour master told us about Ho Fung.
Ho Fung.
Yeah, whereas we're talking about the new
warehouse.
We're talking about the new China Army warehouse.
I see.
I think that was the guy you met in the tea shop told you about that one.
He did, but also the Japanese Army guy mentioned it.
The Japanese had a hunch about the place, yes.
So it's on their radar, not necessarily being monitored actively.
We're not
I mean,
meeting at the
technically,
warehouse
radars
tomorrow.
haven't been invented yet, but yes.
We're not meeting me at the warehouse this time. We're meeting me at the tea shop. But we do need to lose this tail.
Yeah. Kind of get the impression she's the kind of woman where you could accidentally pick up another tail again completely innocently just because her fingernails are everywhere.
I think
Click.
the problem is that I think Phil's right about we got to be more paranoid. But the problem is that we literally don't know who to trust
Yeah, we do.
apart from each other.
We trust them all except Ho Fung. But in as far as we understand their motives. Yeah, she's out for herself, her wealth and her status symbols.
Yeah.
Brady wants to do the right thing.
He just wants us to destroy this machine and then go on our own. Japanese Navy just want to use us to gather intelligence inside China.
And then invade Manchuria. But,
Yeah.
And Ho Fung wants to summon the bloated woman to rain death and glory down upon the earth. But yeah.
And we don't know what this madam wants.
Yeah,
Well, she's all out for herself.
She's out wealth, power, and status symbols.
She's literally watching the flow of the blow.
Do we believe that she wants these books just for a collection, or
is
she using them for something?
Oh, she's almost certainly casting spells, but I don't believe she's in the Order of the Bloated Woman.
Okay.
Right?
Certainly from Charles's role, it was more kind of, it's part of my collection, and now it's gone.
It's mine.
Yeah.
It's something of mine that's gone, and I want it back.
She's like an NPC player character. The GM took something from her, and she'll go to fucking Mars if she has to get it back.
Yes.
So, but the thing is, like, if we're spotted as allied with Brady, she will switch to Ho Fung's side.
Well, the only way to get her back would be to give her the books then.
Not necessarily that she would switch to Ho Fung's side, but we would definitely find that we're then fighting on at least two fronts. Because she's going to come at us and all. Even if she doesn't ally with him, we make an enemy out of her.
Well,
And I don't think we can afford to do that.
The only way you could keep her on the side then is to say, well, we found Brady, here's the books.
Well, that's the easy way to do it, but we need those books. So
yeah, we do. We definitely
we have to misdirect her. That's going to be hard because she's well informed.
That's going to be impossible. She knows everything.
And what we might have to do is we might have to lose a few books to her.
Can we tell her Brady destroyed the books?
Maybe. But what we have to do is we have to concoct a believable narrative around the actions we know she can observe. Maybe even lay things on for her. A fake gunfight or something. Whatever the narrative is.
Yeah.
We have to deliver her information she'll believe from other sources and then give her the full picture ourselves, the picture that we want to paint. That's what we've got to do. We've actually got to con her.
We could bait and switch with the books. The only thing is we need to see the books.
She knows her books.
Which means we need to see the books in order for us to even attempt to bait and switch. We need to anyway.
That's step one, right? We've got to get there and we've got to be not seen. So let's focus on that first of all.
Yeah.
Let's get that bit done. and then we'll see where Brady's at with the books. And we know he's got them, right? So let's find out what his attitude is towards letting us bloody read them and cast the spell from him and find
Do
out
we know
what the
he's
deal
got
is.
them?
Yeah,
She says so.
she
So
said so.
we're fairly confident she'll have good
Yeah.
information on that.
Well, all we know is but in all honesty, all we can honestly, definitely, positively glean from her is she believes he has them.
And she has good information.
She has good information. He may not have taken them, or he may have taken them and may no longer have them because he's offloaded them to somebody else.
I doubt that. I think he needs them for the same reason we do.
We should
So-
ask her why she thinks Brady took them.
Captain Hindsight.
Probably got spotted or something. I don't know. But yeah, we didn't. Thanks for your good
I
idea
agree.
an hour late.
I agree. I agree.
Let alone in game.
First and foremost, we need to see these books.
Well, the smart team didn't think of it even an hour late.
Giorgio, what are your thoughts? You've been a bit quiet.
No, I've been thinking that either way, I think that in the next couple of sessions I will forget important things and I will get rimmed in the butt for forgetting things. So I really
Depends on
hope.
who she hooks you up with, but yeah.
Yeah, I need to take better notes and highlight shit and stuff.
Well, hey, the
yeah.
broadcast was recorded.
Well, you can go back to Mrs. Swallow and
If she does.
get rimmed. Just get rimmed in the butt right now.
Go back to Mrs. Swallow.
Okay.
Go back to Mrs. Swallow and see if she does.
I know what you mean about. I know what you
Bang
mean
some
about not,
coconuts together.
I know what you mean about not pissing her off and getting on the wrong side, but I do think we need to keep him Brady because we need his soldiers.
Yes, we need them both, and they're against each other.
Spinning
Right.
plates.
So this is why we're going to do a con. We're going to do a con job.
Because I think if we're going to the army, if we're going to the island, we're going to need the army and Brady for longer.
Yeah.
We're going to need her.
Yes.
But I do
But we
believe
don't
that we may
need her
also try and convince the Japanese that Brady is in the clear. I mean, it's on the good side because it's not the one building the shit.
Yeah, it's so fun.
We can get a boat. We don't need the Japanese Navy to get us there, but
Well,
No, but I think we can if we can turn the Japanese army, Navy, and Brady into allies. I think that's worth doing. And if we can get, in doing that, not get on her wrong side, I think it's worth doing a long con on her for that. I think you're right, though, that we need to see if we can talk the Japanese Navy around.
mm-hmm.
I mean, if they think
Because
that that
nothing.
is,
I mean, if nothing else, if we can convince them that certain ships are crossing over to this island with stuff to make something that might be a real threat to Japan, then they might decide to send those ships to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, I mean,
In a nice fast sinky way.
there's two possible lines of attack with them, isn't there? There's the, Brady is doing it, and it's here on this island that he's doing it. And just send them over that way.
Go all in.
Or we try and make the point that, well, surely, this is an independent group of rebels. Actually, that's more useful if you think about it in many ways. Your real problem is Ho Fung. He's the one who's building the machine.
yes,
So there's those two different lines of attack with them.
it shouldn't be too hard.
I think the latter is more desirable. The former is probably more doable, but the latter is more desirable.
There
wouldn't
is
be
also
hard.
Sir Aubrey, of course.
as long as you can convince the Japanese Navy that they are building it on one of those islands around Okinawa, I mean, that's considered Japanese territory. So they
Yeah,
will
but
at
it's
least
not
go and
on
look.
Okinawa. It's the closest possible, but it's still, a good few knots away at least. It's not anywhere near the island, but that's the closest it is at.
Yeah, they probably
Is
consider
it an
those-
internet? Is it I don't even think international waters was a thing back then.
No, but actually, I do have it's a small map, a bit like the one
No,
at Abu Dhabi
all
Forest.
waters at that point are either British or American
Yeah.
because the navies are that big.
Oh, where is it? I made a map somewhere which basically shows the position in comparison to Shanghai and all that. Why is it?
Wait a
not
minute.
on the
Wait a
map?
minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Hong Kong is still
British.
is
Is at that
British,
point it's
isn't it?
British, yeah.
Yes.
They'll have a navy there.
Clear.
We can
Yeah,
send
they'll be there,
word
yeah.
and get them to come over as well.
Yes, there is.
Bit of extra firepower.
British-
Good fucking
yes,
luck.
Yes.
British
I
will
know,
only
I
do
know.
what's profitable.
The trouble is then
Worse than the Russians.
The British Navy will be entering Japanese waters.
Yes, there is that possible issue. Come on.
So
There we go.
Charles wants to start World War II early.
That is where Grey Dragon Island is.
Yeah.
So the black lines underneath the red text is basically Okinawa. So it's
Yes.
still nowhere near, but yeah, it's basically the best reference point I could find.
And just for clarification, Charles is not trying to start World War II early. Charles has no idea there's going to be a World War II later on. I'm just starting
no,
World War
he
II.
does.
No,
But yes, that's true. In the British, Japanese, American are all going to have different relations with each other.
Hmm.
And of course, Chinese. I'll put the map in the Facebook chat. Oh.
please.
So what time is this meeting in the morning? Is there time to go shopping for plants and a big cage first?
Sure. Yeah. That's
Okay.
fine.
I'm going to get that sorted then, and then I'm going to give Who a big cage with some plants in.
I thought you were going to say big kiss for a minute.
I'll kiss her too.
But yeah, no, in China, certainly from what I've seen, people love to get up very early. They're very much early risers. They do like Tai Chi and things like that early morning. Shops open up early and stuff. So yeah, that's absolutely fine.
And whilst I'm doing that, I keep looking behind me, making a note of faces
Okay.
that all look Chinese.
Well, look Chinese is very But yes.
Sorry. No. We showed last week before, that we can instantly and perfectly recognize the difference between
Yes.
Chinese and Japanese peoples. We know these things. We have shown it.
Okay, so yeah, you can go out, get plants and things like that. You are, when you look behind you, yes, you are watched at certain points, especially if you deviate too far from your hotel and the old city.
Okay. Am I seeing the same people watching, or is it just there's...
You don't really know. Maybe not. Certainly in terms of what they're wearing, yes, but you think that the madam definitely employs a lot of people.
But they've all got, a sort of a swallow's outfit, have they?
Well, they're not dressed
We
up as
can't make that
swallows.
assumption for anyone following us.
No, I'm just asking if all the ones following, like, because you mentioned it just then. They all had the same
Yeah, it's basically the same sort of grey outfit. Yeah, quite. Again, it's very kind of. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but I can't quite remember. But it's a certain type of Chinese outfit that was quite common at the time, but at the same time, it's got these sort of nice little gold braids and stuff on it. So you can just about make them stand out. So you do know that they are with her.
Okay. All right. So once that little shopping trip's done and who's all settled into a nice big cage.
She certainly prefers it, yes.
Okay. Guess I'm going to go out with the guys and we're going to try and shake our tails. We need to do lots of, like, we walk along a street and then we all split off in different directions at once and then meet up again somewhere else.
Because that one would have been immediately bit suspicious when we all go.
It doesn't matter. They can't follow 4 at once, and then we backtrack on ourselves and stuff like that.
Do a lot of that, looking in shop windows to see who's behind you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they can follow 4 people at once.
Well, a person can't follow 4 people at once.
Okay. Okay.
Confuse and disorient is sort of the idea.
Exactly.
And if you isolate them and lose one, then,
Stop a policeman and just point at the guy and say, I think I'm going to be mugged. He's following me.
Yeah. Essentially, we're going to use, like Andy says, we're going to use confuse and disorientate, and whatever we're going to do to the guys following us.
Yeah, we should be good at that.
Okay, why don't all of you make me stealth rolls?
Stealth roll.
Oh, good God.
I passed.
I failed.
Hard pass.
If I spent the entire rest of my luck, I still couldn't get a pass.
Okay, so 2 fails.
I could spend some luck and pass, but I'll be the group luck rolls will be knackered.
Yeah.
Again.
I'll just fail. If Ronnie's failed as well, then.
Well, yeah, Ronnie's failed by miles.
Ronnie's got 91. Ronnie's failed.
Okay, so a couple of you do slip away in the crowds, and you do notice that you're lost, or they've lost you, sort of thing. But by the time you convene back to the tea house, there's still a handful of people who are lingering, who you think may be, working for her and stuff, because they've seen the more prominent people in your group who are not taking care with, slipping away and stuff.
I roll my eyes very visibly.
Like that meme, just right back into that. But anyway, do you all still enter the autumn morning tea house?
You know what? I'm not gonna.
No, me and Charles will just keep walking.
We're just going to keep walking and hope whoever, in case, and try and draw attention away from Pranit and Annie entering.
Okay.
Maybe even break into a bit of a run so they chase us.
I was going to say, how are you planning to draw attention?
Well, no, it's more
like.
Yeah, just, we're going to keep on walking.
So they keep following us.
We need to make our own individual ways to the tea house and only enter if we are 100% sure we're clear. And if you're not, go investigate the museum thingy.
Yep.
Damage. So let's do that.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what the video game's called, but it's almost like you kind of, come to the right place and you have to go past and then round and whatever. But yeah, basically, there's still people who, when they see you convene together, even for a moment, they keep an eye on those of you who
had lost our tails, and then we disappear again.
Yes. Okay.
Basically, we all split up again.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to try and lose our tails again. And those of us who are 100% sure will go into the tea house, and those of us who are not will go and investigate the museum thing.
Okay.
So basically, all 4 of us are going to be at the museum.
Yeah, we all turn up there and go, bugger.
Okay, so in this case, can you give me spot hidden rolls?
Ooh.
Because you need to now. You're doing the looking behind you and whatever to see if you've been
Yeah.
tailed.
We all end up at the museum and double the number of people there.
Pass
Pass.
for me.
Pass by 6.
That is a pass for me as well. Just, but pass. I'll take it.
Okay. Yes, and I am going to do.
Oh god, at least one of them's going to be a hard pass.
Okay. So
Yeah, but the
sorry,
one I
all of you
should have
passed
spotted.
spot hidden.
Yes.
All of you passed. Okay. So Pranit, Annie, and Perry, you think that you're still being tailed. Charles, obviously, to start with, you think you were. You moved away. You thought you'd go off and like maybe have a look at this seaman club or whatever. Eventually, whether they get bored of you or something, you notice that they're no longer following you.
Great. The one that's not met Brady.
And more importantly, has terrible stealth, therefore is definitely being followed, just doesn't think he's being followed.
Exactly. Exactly. This is one of those damned if I do, damned if I don't moment. Because if I go with the well, I'm not being followed, but I really am. I've screwed everyone over.
Well, no, you cannot see anybody following you. You look a good few times, check back, nobody's following you.
Okay, I am going to continue on my large circuitous pattern to head back to the tea room.
Okay. With the rest of you, who know that you are still being tailed, and they are pretty good at it, but you do see them, what do you do?
Got to keep
Go
walking.
to the museum. That
Okay,
was the plan.
so are all three of you heading over to the? Well, it's not a museum; it's a club.
Yeah.
But are you heading all to the club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Charles, what about you?
As I say, I'm doing my big sort of circuit.
So you're going back to the tea house.
Well, as far as I know, I haven't been. I'm not being followed anymore.
Okay. I'm just double checking. Okay, cool. Right. So we'll leave the session today as Charles heads into the tea room, and the rest of you are kind of milling around the Seamen's Club.
So by himself, his team C for Charles.
And I was just about to say, Charles is indeed approached by somebody who says, "Would you like a sweet cake?"
And I don't even know the answer to it.
Nobody does, so don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, you just have to say that we couldn't be there because we're sure we're being followed or something. So.
Yes, but would you like a sweet cake? Oh dear. Anyway, yes.
No, but I do like the look of your cinnamon buns.
Save that for Madam Lynn, frankly. Well, I hope you enjoyed that and has given you food for thought, as Ronnie said.
A lot going on again. A lot going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Food for thought.
Well, I don't know if I've said to all of you, but I certainly said to Becky, with China, one of the biggest challenges as a keeper is all the different factions and moving parts. And actually, no, I did say to you last week, although it was off broadcast for those of you watching, I'm technically simplifying it a little bit and only bringing in certain factions when it's really necessary. I could be doing it all the time, but I thought, you know what, that would be so confusing. It would just kind of take away the focus and stuff a bit, so I haven't.
The players need it simple.
Your players do, yeah.
not only the players but me.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said for, sometimes plots are too complex.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
There's too many moving parts for its own good.
Yeah, exactly. And like they all serve a purpose to a degree, but if they're say for example, some of them
If you
don't
introduce
need
them
to be
all at
there
once,
consistently, or
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. If
Yeah,
they're all,
it's because Masks has a habit of
boom,
that, doesn't
boom,
it?
boom.
It kind of does these big info dumps, and it's too much.
Yeah.
You don't take it in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas, at least with this, because they're different factions, I have the control to actually be like, actually, I want to bring in this one, or I could bring in this one. Whereas with other stuff where it is just like you go to a location, it's an info dump, you can't really control that at all if your players choose to go there.
Because I mean, I don't have a problem with the info dump sessions, but you can tell when they happen.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you've unlocked the
You've unlocked
the
this
big
level.
info location.
Yeah.
Please read this book, and this book.
Well, you do have another book to read potentially, Annie, if you want.
Give me
Yes,
spells.
join us all next week for the fantastic final chapter.
Final chapter.
Subtitled, Charles screwed it up completely for everyone by walking into the bloody tea house.
Oh, final session of the final chapter. Okay. We'll have to see, but who is doing recap next week? Is it Giorgio?
I believe it's me, yes.
It is you.
So, yeah.
Okie dokie.
And then after that, is it Phil or is it me?
It's
Can't remember.
back to
Phil.
me.
Phil.
Back to me then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so I follow Phil. Okay, got it.
It's actually in a perfect circle right now.
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giorgio,
Yeah.
Phil, you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm hurting a little bit again.
No, it's fine. I'm going to cut the broadcast anyway.
It's gone
Thank you, everyone,
midnight
for
him,
watching.
bless him.
We will see you next week. Not Saturday again, unfortunately, but we will be back the Saturday after. And obviously Monday.
Not without me. Not without me, you won't.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's going to be a couple of weeks.
See you in September.
Yes.
See you in September.
But see you on Monday anyway.
We'll be back when September ends.
Yes. Bye.